Hello, African Fight Fam. What's up? It's your boy JB back again with another episode of the African Fighters Podcast. This is an instant reaction. If you have been following our channel, you would know that we don't really do podcasts on the weekdays. It's always on Sundays once a week. But this we had to hop on, and I needed to. I've always wanted to speak to Young Goche. Young Goche is the guy that I have on the
Young
pod
Jolo.
today. Young Jollof, aka Oche, who happens to be owner, co-founder of Combat Culture Africa, resides in Abuja, Nigeria. Also commentator for African Knockout, which is AKO, that is Kamaru Usman's MMA promotion in Nigeria. He's a very learned man, IT guy, uh, fitness enthusiast, MMA trainer. I don't know, combat trainer. I don't know. He trains a lot. He does a lot of weird training. So I think that's enough for the introduction. Young Jollof, what's up, my brother? Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the overhyped introduction. It's an honor to be a guest on your awesome show.
Okay, okay, so what would you say you are? What do you train for basically? What type of training? What style of training do you do exactly?
Well, MMA is my base. I did two amateur MMA fights before I went into commentary and analysis, and but I never stopped training. I still train every day. I still train like training. I still train the way I trained when I was training for fights. It's just now my opponent is different. My opponent is life and just being a better person. It's really that simple. So MMA is my base. I did jiu-jitsu, I did boxing, I did Muay Thai, but now I train for different reasons. Yeah.
All right, there you have it. You would get to understand why I'm very, very psyched to have
Okay.
Young Jollof here. When I met Young Jollof in Lagos, and we had so many interesting conversations around the sports and around life, around wellness, fitness, and all that. But that's not why we are here today. We are here to
Mm.
react about the huge announcement that just happened last night, which is Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou for
Of
a
course.
boxing fight. At this point, there are so many details that we don't know. This boxing fight is going to happen in Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. We don't know if it's a stadium event or an arena event, wherever they
Mhm.
would want to put them in. Those details will come very soon. I believe it's October 28th. So yeah, I was speaking to Young Goche, Young Jollof, sorry. I was speaking to Young Jollof earlier today, and I said, Young Jollof, what do you think about Francis Ngannou uh, and Tyson Fury? So his first sentence was he started talking about like he's happy for Ngannou, and then I realized shit, what this guy is about to do. When this topic we're about to discuss, I think the rest of the world needs to hear it, or I should say our African Fighters farm needs to hear it. Hence why I told him to stop. Don't tell me anything else. I would rather have you on the pod so we can chat about it. So
Okay.
still on the story of still on the story of getting him to agree, my young Yolof was like, we can do it tomorrow. I was like, dude, no, we've got to do it right now. This was literally an hour ago. I had to plead with him, and well, I'm very, very happy and blessed that you accepted to actually speak to us about this. But yes, that's all the ramble I've got. But let me just take your reaction. So, what did you think? What was your reaction first when you just heard the news about Ngannou versus Tyson Fury finally happening in boxing?
Okay. So my first reaction was my reaction as a fan. And my reaction as a fan is a very biased one. It's a reaction that is colored by being an African man, by being an enthusiast of combat sports, being a former combat sports athlete in Nigeria, and knowing the awesome and inspiring story that Francis Ngannou has behind him. My first reaction was joy, pure joy. I was just happy. I'm just like, yo, this guy went across the ocean. He had to be deported back how many times, got to Paris, slept on the parking lot, went through everything, went from, and is now he's on top of the world fighting the Gypsy King. I'm happy for him. My African brother, an awesome human being, an awesome person, an awesome athlete, former UFC heavyweight. Oh my God, I can't hit all the nails on the head. So I was happy. However, as someone who is intertwined with the details that entail business in this sport, be it boxing or MMA, I had some warning bells going off, some alarm bells going off, and one of them was, this is 2023. How many heavyweight bouts, how many heavyweight title bouts have we had for boxing? We're not talking mixed martial arts now, we're just talking boxing. And if memory serves me correctly, the answer to that is zero. If that is happening, why is that the case? One of the reasons is because the Saudis have events at the end of the year and they pay well. It's well known that they pay well. So if you're part of the heavyweight division and you want to make the most on the investment of your career, it makes sense that you should hold off to the events that pay you best. So the entire world has been waiting for Tyson Fury to take a stance on who he's going to fight. Now, the entire boxing world, which I will admit objectively, the hardcore boxing fans, the number may not compare with the number of total MMA fans plus people that got in because of Jake Paul and celebrity boxing and all of that. But the hardcore boxing fans have been waiting for him to pick an opponent, and the obvious opponent has been Usyk. And Usyk just schooled Anthony Joshua. And Usyk is a southpaw, and Usyk is a smaller, faster man who might give the bigger, more dominant heavyweights in Tyson Fury some issues with speed and ankles. And in the underground, it might be whispered that Tyson has been ducking him. There was the whole 70-30 split on the purse initially and all the unreasonable requirements, quote unquote, that were made.
What what
So,
is sorry,
yeah. So
sorry to
just to round
interrupt.
that up, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, round it up, then I would
Okay.
check.
So to round it up, one, if you were a hardcore boxing purist, you would look at this and say, this is the perfect storm. It's the perfect opportunity for you to avoid a fight that you could lose so that you could get a guaranteed payday, but you're holding off the entire boxing heavyweight division in the process. There's an entire stable of guys that have been waiting for the opportunity to fight you. So I understand that and I have to empathize and say that out loud if I'm an honest human being. But on top of it all, I just have to be happy because Francis went through the whole stint with the UFC, Dana White dragging him on the press conferences, people calling him out, Chael Sonnen, numerous people owe him apologies. I don't even think the full number of people that should have apologized to him have apologized yet. So I'm happy for him and I want him to fight and I want him to make good money. I want him to be successful. So that's basically it.
Yeah, yeah. Talking about people apologizing to Francis Ngannou, I believe that I am also in that boat because
Hmm.
as people or as fans of MMA in general, we are not very patient, right?
Yeah.
We always want to see we always want to see action. We want to see fights all the time, right? But in situations with Francis Ngannou, even in his time in the UFC, he only got to fight once a year.
Hmm.
So with him, his fights, there's always a long interval in between. And then
Hmm.
him jumping into boxing, where, as you have already stated, the heavyweights don't really actually fight on time. They always wait for this money grab. Earlier, a couple of weeks ago, there was a big talk about the Saudis wanting to do like a big boxing card that would have, like, on top of the card, Tyson Fury, Usyk. We'll get Wilder versus Joshua, and they said that third fight would be Ngannou versus, I think, was it Chisora? I forgot
Hmm.
who the rumor was about at that point.
Yeah.
So um something started happening that made us start to realize that that's not going to happen again, because we had Anthony Joshua announcing his fight with Big Baby Miller.
Hmm.
We've got That means that the Saudi thing wouldn't happen again. And then Eddie Hearn, who is AJ's manager, he kind of like dropped the rumor, or he foiled the rumor by, he was the first person to actually say that Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua will fight an exhibition fight that would have no knockdowns, which is very weird. I wasn't really happy to hear that, but I knew that because it came from Eddie Hearn, and Eddie Hearn, someone that doesn't like Tyson Fury, it would
Hmm.
be actually legitimate. So now, when the
Hmm.
fight was announced, I believe we've got it up here in the graphic. So what we know so far about the fight, so the clash would be called what, the baddest man on the planet, because we've
Mm-hmm.
got the lineal boxing guy, heavyweight champion in Tyson Fury versus the lineal MMA heavyweight champion of the world, if that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense, because
Mm-hmm.
Ngannou is a fighter that never lost his title. So two
Yeah.
guys coming to clash. This will be a three judges will be at ringside adopting the 10-point mod system. Both fighters, however, are promising to meet in the middle of the ring, go to a win by knockout or in the devastating fashion. So this has already thrown away the speculation of this being an exhibition fight. Now,
Mm-hmm.
Tyson Fury is a double BC champion. Would the title be online? I don't think it would be, because if it would have
No.
been online, it would have already been been announced to be here.
Announced.
Uh
No, it won't be on the line.
yeah. Yeah, so my thing is, Fury has been having a lot of backlash. He's not really popular among hardcore boxing fans now because of his shenanigans.
Of
But
course.
do you think that this is going to be like good for boxing in the sense of boxing, not the entertainment factor, or do you think it's all good? It will be positive for boxing basically.
I feel the question, what is good for boxing, what is good for anything, but what is good for boxing is really subjective, because one could argue that just getting more eyes on the sport is a good thing, because
Mm.
maybe in recent years heavyweight boxing has not been what it was in the 70s and in the 80s, and just getting the newer generation of guys who their attention spans aren't as long as they used to be because of TikTok and social media. If you can just get people that they know, people that they can relate with, influencers that they know, the social media guys that we've seen do it time and time again, maybe that's good for boxing. But if you are of the perception of a purist, you might think that, oh, we want more real fights. Personally, if you ask me, I would say that this is good, because it's good for very many different reasons. One, it's just good for athletes representation. This is, we're having someone stand up to the powers that be and actually come out on the positive. Usually, it's the structures, it's the promotions that win when you have these tussles between athletes and organization. But this is the first time you're seeing a guy make a stand and say, yo, I want to do things my way, on my terms, and my time, in my prime. And you have to respect and admire that. So for me, it's a win on so many different levels, and it is a win for boxing. But at the same time, I also get the arguments about the whole you're holding division. Can you even add this on your record? I get it. I get it. And there are people's lives that have been waiting for this opportunity. You have to sit there, I feel. But at the same
All
time,
right, let
it's a big statement.
yeah, yeah. All right, let's do some hypothesis. Let's assume that Francis Ngannou knocks out Tyson Fury. Now
Yeah,
he goes out there. Obviously, he's going to be the underdog from the betting guys, from the bookers. He would likely be like maybe a 1-5 dog. So, but
yeah.
then, or 5-1. I think that's how the betting. That's the lingua of the betting guys. But let's
Mhm.
assume he knocks out Tyson Fury. What then happens to his career? What do you think is going to happen? Do you think if he gets knocked out Fury, he can end up going back into the UFC and Dana White doing business with him again?
Dana, one thing you have to say about Dana, for all his flaws, he's pretty consistent in the fact that he goes where the money is. If Francis Ngannou knocks out Tyson Fury, then it's without a doubt that he is the baddest man on the planet. I believe one of the negotiation clauses in the contract states that one of the companies that handles promotion is Francis Ngannou's promotion company. I think it's called, I've forgotten the name. I actually looked it up yesterday. I'll remember. And so this is an opportunity for him to elevate his brand as a personality to a level, a stratosphere that has never existed before. You're trying to unify the worlds of boxing and the UFC. I think at that point, he becomes a person that starts to dictate what the terms are for where he fights. He's not tied to any exclusive contracts. He can fight wherever he wants on his own terms. He can invite UFC champions to the PFL and they can try to cross promote. That's the kind of person I think Francis Ngannou is trying to shape his legacy up to be. So pretty big. That's my answer to your question. Pretty big.
I think you mentioned PFL, and I think this is going to eventually be very huge for PFL because God knows the amount of time they would mention PFL build up to that fight. Oh, Francis
Of
Ngannou, the
course.
PFL fighter. Francis Ngannou, PFL Africa chairman. Francis Ngannou, PFL this, PFL that. This is going to be huge promotion for them as well. I don't know how much involvement they have in the negotiations for this deal, but one thing I think, this is just my assumptions. I don't think the contracts are made public. We know that Tyson Fury likes to strong arm his opponents when it comes to
Yeah.
negotiation. Hence why his fight with Usyk never really happened because of the percentage of
Yeah.
the purse and all that drama. Do
Of
you
course.
think that Francis Ngannou left some money on the table just to get this fight to get done?
Okay, let's take it a step back. I see the angle you're approaching it from. But if I remember, if I do understand this the about correctly, I think the Saudis, how they negotiate is there's a flat fee for just showing up. They negotiate with you as an athlete and you get paid just as a person. There's no PPV, whatever. It's okay, this is what you're negotiating with us for. I think the rumor, please, well, nobody should quote me, but the rumor was that Tyson Fury was asking for half a billion, $500 million to fight Usyk in Saudi. So he just outpaid himself out of the contract. But basically, I think they approach you and then if so, it might be if for Tyson Fury, it might be 25 million, it might be 50 million. For Francis, it might be 25, it might be 30, since is an MMA guy coming in. So, to be honest, that's where I'm thinking we should speculate on it from. How much do you think they are worth for being both being the baddest men on the planet, having claimed to that title? How much do you think they are worth individually? How much do you think Francis would negotiate for coming from the UFC? How much do you think Tyson would ask for being the unified heavyweight champion?
Yeah, I think that would make sense. That would make sense because I know Tyson Fury and his people, they are really, really assholes when it comes to
Yeah,
negotiations,
yeah,
right? So,
yeah,
but then when it comes to the Saudis, as you did mention, they will just, it's by your brand basically who you are. Your
exactly,
negotiation is separately. You don't come, see what
exactly.
thing we go pay you. You don't come, see what thing we go pay you. But I know that them Tyson Fury and his guys, they will be the one that would want to, like, because they know the money that comes from PPV is huge. Money that comes from
Yes,
ticket sales is huge. Maybe there might be
yes,
clauses in there that they might want to, like, come up on top because that's what they always do. But anyways,
mhm.
I think maybe after the fight we'll get to have those information. But
Yeah,
regardless,
yeah.
this
Juicy
is a
details.
huge, huge, huge deal for our boy Francis Ngannou because look at the things that Ngannou is doing for Africa, or I should say for Cameroon, right? He went to his hometown of Batie, he built a gym, he had kids training there.
Yes, yeah.
Then that wasn't enough. He went to not Yaoundé, what's the name of the other city in Cameroon? Douala. He went to Douala and
Yeah.
built an arena, and he started an MMA promotion too. This wasn't very made public. This was just about
Mm,
like 2 weeks ago. They streamed
mm,
their whole fight. The first fight night, they streamed it on Facebook. They had
mm,
championship belts. He was live in attendance. People fight Cameroonian athletes were fighting. It was really, really incredible to see. So now
mm.
those things that he has been doing with the little money he made from the UFC, imagine what that guy is going to do for Cameroon now with
Of
the
course,
influx of money he's going to get from the Saudis and the PFL
of
deal as well.
course, of course. Of course,
Yeah. So yeah.
he's an amazing human being. Like no matter how you slice it, his legacy is already cast in stone. Like Hollywood is going to make fight for rights to make movies about this guy. Like he is the real deal. Like he stood by his values. He left when he felt like he wasn't being respected. He's done his own thing, and like yeah, look at us. We're doing a whole podcast about him. So real deal, 100%, no doubt.
All right. All right. I disappeared from the screen a bit. My laptop was about to shut down, so I
Oh
had
damn.
to I had to quickly plug it. I went under the table to plug it. Oh.
No,
So
I think you did a good
yeah.
job.
Uh, yeah. So with this, the next topic I would want us to discuss about is about Israel Adesanya and Dricus still knocks DuPlessis from South Africa. Right, this is an all
Yeah,
African affair. We've
yeah,
discussed this in our podcast this last weekend. We discussed it to details. This was sort of like us reacting to what had just happened in the pay-per-view. But now that we have gotten time to a bit dilute the whole situation a bit, um, I think maybe opinions that we'll have will be slightly different. But anyways, I would want to hear from you, right? Because I've already told the people what my opinions are, but I would want to hear from you directly.
mm,
What's your take about Easy stepping into the
mm,
octagon and then dropping all those end bombs?
yeah.
What's your take? What's your take on it?
Okay. My take, unfiltered, completely. If you're giving my 100% answer, I think Israel is trying to transcend the level of promotion and self-promotion that was kind of created by Conor McGregor. He understands that controversy sells tickets, and when you're a champion and you've negotiated into yourself into a contract where maybe you get a percentage of the pay-per-view sales, and you understand that everybody that buys increases what goes into my bank account, and you understand that it's a game of numbers, and if it's capitalism and business always wins, then maybe I should do better business. What does better business entail? Maybe a bit better marketing. Maybe your marketing might be a bit more controversial. Hence, seven N bombs in one night. There were people that said he was drinking, he was slurring his words. He said 23 and me instead of 26 and me instead of 23 and me and all of that. I think at heart he already knew what he was going to do on the night, which was provoke the crowd, try to create a narrative and a story that sells an Africa versus Africa drama that you can sell and the UFC can package, and they have all their sound bites and they can do that. He's on that level of promotion now. He's with Puma, he's with all of them. Now, seven M bombs in one night, I think is excessive. I think he could achieve that. He could have achieved what he did. I mean, he's on my wall. Look at him. He's right here. Like, I feel like he could have sold the fight with a lot more elegance and sophistication. However, as someone who kind of tries to understand how great minds work, and knowing how that guy, especially seeing how he's developed himself, he's been on this whole reconciliation tour recently. John Jones in Vegas, Pereira at the airport. Then he just comes into the octagon and then he's screaming racial slurs at this guy. I don't think Izzy is impulsive. I think that was premeditated. I think my guy knows exactly what he's trying to do. He understands that he needs to make money while he's hot and while you're the middleweight champion of the world. You just took off Alex Pereira's head. If you're going to get DuPlessis, which personally I think he's going to win, if you get that fight, then you know that all you need to do is sell it. You're going to win. You're going to keep your belt, so just sell it. So that's what I think he was trying to do. But I just feel like he went overboard. That was too much. And the world is already in a very dicey place with tensions and social tensions. I don't feel we need any more things to divide us.
Yeah, I think I shared the same sentiment with you. I I thought that he did not need to be in the octagon at that point
Mm,
because of how he appeared to be. He appeared to be drunk, and that's what all the clickbaits were: drunk, easy,
mm,
saying n words in there. I think it wasn't a good look because first of all, he's the champion. He walked up to the challenger. Normally, it's the challengers that come into the octagon for the champions, which he actually played it well for Dricus to look good. But
he made
um,
Dricus look really good, really good.
yeah, he made Dricus look good. Now people, because the world is divided, now a lot of people will be like, "Oh, Dricus, nice guy," blah blah blah, and they forget about what instigated the whole situation in the beginning.
Yeah,
Um, a lot of people that are not, when something doesn't involve you, right? If you are if you are a black man, and the way racism hurts you is different than the way a white man will see racism to be. Even if the white man is trying to understand, he would never get it, right?
yeah,
So like,
yeah,
I think we've had this conversation, like a Hausa man like I am, right?
yeah.
If I witness tribalism, right, the
Mhm.
way it hurts me is different from when another non-Hausa person would hear the same thing, but he wouldn't. he wouldn't feel it the same way that I do. So you wouldn't
Of
basically you cannot
course.
walk a mile in my shoe or situations like that.
Of course.
So
Of course.
there's a lot of that. What I'm getting to is there's a lot of that going on with people misunderstanding why Easy will be annoyed or butthurt about the I'm the real African phrase that Dricus said when he first got into the UFC, right? Because
Mm,
like when he first got into the UFC, the first thing he said is, I'm going to be the first real African champion, right? So, and obviously he was white, or he is white, sorry. It's not like he stopped being white. Uh he it, what basically my question to you is, what do you think about Easy's reaction, him building up this whole reaction from that statement, that first statement that Draco said, the whole thing that Easy is
yeah.
annoyed about that instigated this whole thing? Do you think it
Mm.
is valid?
I think it is valid. I think it's 100% valid. I think the entire thing was not a good look from day one, saying that you're the first authentic African champion, however he chose to phrase it. There are many ways to package your career from a management perspective or a PR perspective, and that was kind of the most incendiary and disrespectful route that you could take, which is why now, when he's taking the high road of nobility and saying, oh, that he has fans. Why would he be talking like that? Like, why would he be talking to like this when he has so many people that look up to him? It's hard to justify because he knows exactly what he was doing when he said he was the first real African, that he's going to be the first real African champion. That's not a good look on Francis Ngannou. That's not a good look on Kamaru Usman. That's not a good look on Israel Adesanya. That's not a good look on Sadiq Yusuf. That's not a good look on Kennedy Nzechukwu. That's not a good look on any of them. But he said it. So for Easy to be upset, is it justified? If I'm in Easy shoes, of course, yes. As an even as a Nigerian person, yes. My pride watching this sport is seeing my African brothers do well. So to just see someone just casually just discredit that, it's kind of it didn't rub me the wrong way either. Now, what I'm going to even say to kind of even take this one more level, like we're doing Inception, is I don't even think Izzy is upset. I think Izzy sees an opportunity to make a stand, cement his legacy, make some good money, and he has seen the perfect victim. He has beaten Robert Whittaker twice. Yeah, as the narrative goes that the challenge is not the same, it's not. But Dricus, this is like fresh. I can create my own story. I can drive it. I can create all the hype I need for this. I think that's the level of marketing genius that Izzy is trying to operate on. That kind of level, that kind of mythical level, kind of. I don't even think he was angry that night. Maybe he drank a bit, yeah, but I don't even think he was angry. I think he knew exactly. He's picked this guy. He's like, yo, I'm gonna get you ready. Like you're like the fresh egg from the hatchery. We'll get you straight to the kitchen, and we're gonna crack it up, do some scrambled eggs, and then we're gonna sell it for people to buy and consume. That's what I think he's doing.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I did mention in the last podcast that um the highest selling pay-per-view in the history of UFC was Khabib versus Conor McGregor, right? The
Yeah.
second highest selling pay-per-view, sorry, highest selling pay-per-view by an African fighter, African-born fighter, was Kamaru Usman versus Masvidal 1 in Yas Island. It sold about 1.2 million, right?
Mm,
The next one would probably be easy at 800,000. I think that was his fight with Paulo Costa. So
mm,
this fight, with all this drama going on right now, has potentials to break, to go like above, I think, 1.5 million. It would definitely be the highest selling pay-per-view for an African fighter, because as I said earlier, this has potential to cross over pop culture, right? People that don't
yeah.
even care about MMA will be drawn to the storylines, and would want to see how this is going to go, right? We are going to have just think the irony of this, right? We're going to have a black guy fighting a white guy with a lot of racial undertone,
Hmm.
but both people are claiming to be Africans. This is not even an American thing, oh,
Hmm.
where racism is, where the white and black narrative is popular. This is in
Yes, of
Africa,
course.
where the white and black narrative is not, a lot of people don't even know it exists.
Hmm.
So this is very compelling storytelling. If you ask me, something that like
Of
WWE will
course.
write
Of
will script.
course. Of
Yeah,
course. Even the way he screamed, the I will show you who you are. I don't think I think Izzy knows exactly what he's doing. He knows the spirit that he's conjuring up. It's like, yo, this is a it's like, yo, this is me versus you. This is gladiatorial. I'm going to stand for my tribe, that kind of thing. Izzy is currently on a yacht with Mark Zuckerberg somewhere, right? Like that's the level of sophistication my guy is on. I don't think just because you put a
yeah.
mic in front of his mouth,
Let's
he's not going to
let's
say
lean in,
everything.
let's lean into that a bit. That yacht
Yeah.
situation, right? So
Mhm.
after his N bombs and all the slurring that and all the swearing that he did, a lot of
Yeah.
people were like, "Oh, he's racist" and all that. A lot of backlash on social media. And just a couple of days later, my guy was chilling with the richest man in the world, or at least one of the richest people in the world, in Mark
Of
Zuckerberg.
course.
They
Of
were
course.
they were literally the owner of the internet, as
Yes.
as you know it. She's
Yes.
chilling with
Yes.
that guy. So how can someone like that be cancelled, bro?
No,
I
you
think
can't.
his relevancy just went from here to here. Easy has had a crazy week. But
Yep.
what do you think about Easy trading with Mark? Because I do know that I think Mark liked Volkanovski because I think they've done
Yeah.
a thing before in the past. I think they did like
Yeah.
a
They have
VR situation,
the
simulation
meta. Yeah, the
situation a
meta
while
thing.
ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they did.
so so what do you think? What do you think these guys are doing? What do you think they are up to? Just you maybe putting your business cap like this, thinking like what thing they happen between these guys?
Okay. First things first, shout outs to Engage. Mark is wearing Engage shorts, and
Oh
that's
yes, that's another
yeah.
endorsement.
Yeah, and that's Easy's fight brand. They label it as a brand for fighters, not a fighter brand, something along those lines. So shout outs to that. And I'm sure Easy walked into the room. That's my setup for my own answer. I'm sure he walked into the room, he was invited, him and Volk got flown in, they got treated to like the best 7 star, 10-star treatment. They showed up and he was just like, yo, Volk, I'm sorry, where Mark, you need to put on some of my shorts and post it on your Facebook, which I know you own, so that people can see that I'm a fighter. And Mark probably looked at Izzy, this towering black god of a man in front of him, and just said, yes, yes, I'll put on your shorts for the opportunity to train with you. I feel like this was an opportunity for Mark. Like I feel like Mark was just preferably felt happy to be in the room. He was just like, look at these legends, like featherweight goats beside me, middleweight goats to my left. Like I must have died and gone to heaven. Like he probably just said his wife about the entire experience from night to the following morning. So for me, I think the spotlight, as big as it is, that it's crazy that two fighters from the UFC are taking pictures with one of the richest men in the world and training him in martial arts. Like that's crazy. The number of pop culture boundaries you are breaking, that's crazy. But I feel
Yep.
like that Mark looks at both of them and he's just like, these are the guys that I'm hoping I can be like in my when I train, when I'm rolling, when I'm doing. I really visualize these guys and look at them coming to train with me. I'm sure he feels blessed. I'm sure that he feels grateful. That's how I'm sure he feels. And
Oh
Easy
yeah.
and Bulk must feel the exact same way because this elevates their brands on so many different levels, and they all have their individual YouTube channels. They all have their individual marketing and branding and media and stores and sales and yo, it's good for everyone. I just like seeing good men do well, man. And this looks like one of those situations.
I've never seen a shared post before of more than two people. You know when you collaborate on a post on Instagram,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But this one, the IT guys in Instagram made it possible for three
yeah,
shared posts. Three
yeah,
people
yeah,
collaborated on
yeah,
one post. I've never seen it before.
yeah,
It's not
yeah,
possible to
yeah,
do it if you try
yeah.
to use your current build of your Instagram app.
Wow,
They probably use the
wow,
beta version, a beta
yeah.
version to do that sharing,
Just
because
just for this.
because this is good for everybody, including the UFC, as you said, the UFC
Of
itself. Because
course, everyone
when
wins.
when 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 the pop headlines are putting this thing out, is like Mark Zuckerberg training with UFC champions. You
Of
understand?
course,
I feel like
of
they are
course.
kind of underselling easy. You understand? But I would
Mm,
rather have them
mm,
say Mark Zuckerberg training with Israel Adesanya. But most of the headlines I've seen from like Bloomberg and all those guys, it's
mm,
like Mark
mm.
Zuckerberg training with UFC champions. It's still good marketing if you would ask me, Sha.
Yeah, yeah.
good awareness. I love to see that. Let's just talk quickly about
Hmm.
Mark Zuckerberg and the Tesla boy. I mean the Tesla guy,
Oh, don't
the
make me
South
do it.
African,
Don't make me do it,
the
please, please, please.
South African guy. I know this
I'm
is your
begging you.
ballpark. I know you are a nerd. Uh,
Don't make me do this.
this is your area. Just give me just rant for 1 minute.
Oh my God. Well, first of all, if you're asking me for my opinion, which I'm going to give you, it's that the fight is not going to happen. It doesn't exist. Everybody knows it's not going to happen. But you have a couple rich guys that understand how crowd mentalities work and how you can use propaganda to fuel whatever interest you have. And if MMA is the big thing, then surprise, surprise, we can make a few posts and put a few things out there that make it seem like we're going to fight, but we're not going to fight. But then now we're going to be inviting UFC champions to our headquarters, and it demeans the sport that I hold in so much high regard and high respect and high faith, and I don't like it. However, however, this whole narrative is what has led Israel, who is someone that I love and respect, to this opportunity that he has, that maybe Instagram is even breaking the rules of their app to make three people share one post. And Volkanovski, who is someone that inspires me every single day of my life, is taking pictures with this billionaire, and I know that they're going to make money. And I'm sure some 13-year-old kid is looking at that picture and seeing the shorts they're wearing and saying, I hope I can, like, what shorts are easy, is that easy guy, is that the middleweight champion? Okay, I want to wear his shorts. Can I find those shorts? And then he goes and he sees the Engage website and he checks out Volkanovski's web shorts, and then he buys, and then they make money. And I just want to see my guys make money, really. But if you're asking me about Elon and you're asking me about Zuck, I've already given you my thoughts, my brother.
It's all right. It's all right. Let's just talk about one last thing before I let you go. I think we've gone over time. I just want to quickly talk about Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman is not really getting the love right now. Kamaru Usman is kind of stuck right now since his loss to Leon Edwards. The welterweight division is a very boring division when it comes to it being still. It's super still. The guys at the top of the card, they decide not to fight. They like squatting in their positions. The At some point last year, the most active top welterweight was the champion himself. Everybody else
Mhm,
was squatting in his position. And now that he's no longer champion, Leon Edwards is still relaxing. Colby
mhm,
Covington and Leon Edwards are supposedly supposed to fight. They're still relaxing, both of them.
mhm.
Um, and then we've got this. I don't wanna swear on this podcast, but Hamza Chimaev, right? Hamza Chimaev out here talking a lot of nonsense.
Mm,
He cannot decide if he's a welterweight or he's a middleweight. If he is a welterweight,
mm,
please UFC take him out of the welterweight rankings so we stop
mhm,
considering him as a welterweight. Um,
mhm,
so Hamza Chimaev and Usman were in the works, right? But Chimaev apparently does not want to cut weight. At first, he said he wanted a catch weight fight. Dana White came out and said, "We would never do catch weight. I hate catch weights because it
mhm.
doesn't do anything
Yeah,
for the division."
yeah, yeah.
And then he's like, he just doesn't want to make 170 anymore.
Mm,
And it would most likely come down to like he's making a lot of money. He's not as like as dialed in as he is.
yeah,
If you can remember
yeah.
his debut on Fight Island when he got to
Mm,
fight like twice, I think twice in a week or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. A
He
week.
fought, yeah, twice in a week. He fought in the welterweight and middleweight divisions back to back, right? So that time he was a hungry fighter. He actually wanted to. But right now, because he's popular, he doesn't want to cut weight. Uh, so now this put Kamaru Usman in a weird position, right? The next person that will be in consideration is Bilal Mohammed.
Mhm.
And Bilal Mohammed versus Kamaru Usman, is that a fight that would do anything for Usman in his path to go getting back into title picture? Is that something that would do anything for Usman
Mm,
for relevancy? Is that anything that would
mm.
help Usman to make money? Because I don't see Bilal Mohammed and Kamaru Usman headlining a pay-per-view for with no title
No,
on the line.
no,
So
no, no.
what do you think? What do you think Kamaru Usman's next move should be with this ugly situation that he is in at the moment?
Okay, so what Kamaru is number two in that division right now, beside Leon Edwards, right? And Leon Edwards hasn't gotten a
Number
fight
one.
booked.
The champion
Yeah,
is
no,
not
but
ranked, so Usman is number one.
okay, yeah. So Usman is number one, and then who is number two?
Hobie is number two.
Colby is number two. Then who is number three?
It's Chimaev then Bilal.
Oh man, it's a mess. So it's a really messy situation. You hit the nail on the head. If Kamsat stuck to the verbal agreement or the Twitter agreement or whatever, the rumors that we saw circulating, then this that would have given the division a lot more direction. If Usman wins, he gets back into title contention. If Kamzat wins, he gets into time. Simple. It's one plus one equals two. But when
Mhm.
human nature gets involved, like you said, maybe he's not as driven. There's all this, all you don't even, I don't even know right now. I don't even understand Kamzat anymore. Kamzat hasn't fought in a year, right? Has he fought in the last 12 months?
I think the last fight was that fight card that got scrambled because he couldn't make weight. You know, the fight card where he fought
Yeah.
the Trailblazer guy, the guy that talks too much. What's the name of that guy?
Yeah, tall guy, big mouth. What's his
Kevin
name?
Holland. Yeah,
Yeah, Kevin Holland. Yeah,
Ke-
Kevin Holland.
yeah. That was the last time he fought. So I think there was Kevin Holland, and then there was ooh, uh Diaz versus who did Diaz fight in the main event? I just remember Hamza didn't
Yeah.
make weight. They had to shuffle the fight card on I think a day before
And
the fight card.
there's always all these excuses. There's always all these stories. There's always all these issues. It's just like, bro, it's at the end of the day, people came to watch you fight. It's your personality can only take people so far. And if you're making all these excuses, catch weight, this and me, I want to see Usman fight because he's still in his prime years of his career.
Hmm.
I want him to maximize his full potential. So it's put up or shut up, really. That's what it is, and it's delaying my guy's path back to what he's trying to accomplish. So that I don't really like it, to be honest. I don't. It's hard for me to even watch content on Kamzat anymore because I just know that it's probably just going to be a new excuse or a new story, and it never looks good. Because I used to really be a fan actually of his stuff and his style.
Yeah, yeah. I think I'm with the same sentiment. I swear, I hardly click any Kamaru Usman just anymore because it's so
Kamzat,
sad.
yeah,
Because it's like
yeah,
he's stagnant. We
yeah,
want him to move. Yeah,
yeah.
I think on that note we'll close this discussion. I wanted to keep you for like 20, 30 minutes, but we have run into 43 minutes. I'm just gonna check into the comment section. We've got one saying Mark swears he's Bonico. Oh, that was I should have seen this a while ago. I didn't see it.
Oh,
Uh
okay.
yeah, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to support the African fighters and you would want to be part of the discussion, please subscribe to our pledge on our Patreon, and you would be invited to be part of the panel every Sunday. This was an emergency reaction, with our boy, our Egbon, Young Jollof.
The one
Yes,
and
Young
only.
Jollof.
Can I give some
Yes.
shout outs?
Well, before you go, Young Jollof, do you have anything you want to plug? You've got anything you want to plug?
Yeah, please, some shout outs, please, man. Shout outs to Body Rocks Fitness Studio. That was my gym. Trained me. Shout outs to Pinnacle International Fitness. Shout outs to Taurus Martial Arts in Area 11. Shout outs to the African Knockouts. Shout outs to the Nigerian Nerd. Shout outs to Mixed Martial Arts. Shout outs to Israel Adesanya. Shout outs to Life. Thank God for life. That's it.
Okay, and yeah, people, if you're looking for Young Jollof on Instagram, he's at Young Jollof, as you can see on your screen right now. And yeah, I remain Jabril from the African Fighters. Please like, subscribe, do all the good things. African Fighters, we out.